You're watching Around the World with me, Delon D'Souza. The headlines this hour. Commemorations held in Israel as the country marks 2 years since the October 7th attacks. It was the worst targeting of Jews since the Holocaust. Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza currently being negotiated in Cairo. Hopes mounting a deal will be reached to end the suffering in the enclave, and Israeli hostages can be returned. And France's Prime Minister tasked with the near impossible mission of reaching out to political parties to break the deadlock. The latest impasse isolating French President Emmanuel Macron even further. But first, it's been 2 years since the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust. Commemorations held this Tuesday to mark when Hamas fighters descended into southern Israel and wreaked havoc. 1,200 Israelis, mainly civilians, were killed, 215 others were taken hostage, and they included foreign nationals. There are hopes that the current ceasefire deal on the table can be finalized and the remaining hostages and the deceased can be brought back home. Earlier today, many gathered at the site of the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel.
Now it's like you have a big hall in the house. It's not the same. It can't be the same.
3 of our beloved friends unfortunately died here. Sean Davidashvili, Evgeny Postel, and Lior Tkach. 3 of our friends. And today we're mentioning the 2 year from the event, and still we cannot capture it, like believe that it really happened.
She was so alive and so colorful and so intense that the house is much quieter. And it was like yesterday.
We can now bring in Demian Halperin, head of Psychiatric Support at SafeHeart. It's an NGO launched to treat the survivors of the Nova Music Festival. Demian, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Now, I'm sure every patient you treat has a different story, but what are some of the common symptoms you're seeing in survivors?
Hi, thank you for inviting. I appreciate the common symptoms we see in survivors is mainly PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms, which a lot of variations of symptoms from various clusters. But basically, this is the clinical situation we encounter even 2 years after the attack. So that's what we're dealing with.
And how does this PTSD manifest itself in what I'm assuming is a very young young population who you're dealing with, who attended this festival?
Well, first of all, it's very important to understand, as you say, that most of the people, the survivors, were young people at the moment of the attack, and this caused like a break in their normal professional or social development. And so it's a very sensitive moment in their lives. And therefore, the rehabilitation process that we try to engage with and that we try to promote and the treatment is made difficult by this complex stage in their lives.
When you say it caused a break, what do you mean? Are they scared to listen to electronic music? Are they scared to go to festivals? How can you expand on that?
So PTSD basically, not only in this context, in every context, the main feeling that is the basis for the development of this disorder and this pathology is the feeling of fear. Intense fear and imminent death, facing death, and this fear what happens is that this fear is maintained in the body as a kind of memory of what happened and is coming about in various ways. and has a lot of control on the patient's life. Therefore, you see these kinds of symptoms of re-experience. The fear comes back in different ways, or hyperarousal, hyper-reactivity. This memory of the fear in the body, in the mind, disturbs the functioning and the capacity to rehabilitate and to function normally in society.
Now, this music festival was a rave. There was electronic music being played. I'm not condoning drug use here, but a study suggests that MDMA may have protected survivors of the Nova attack from trauma. Can you explain to us why?
Well, first of all, it's important to understand who goes to celebrate life, to these parties, to dance and use music, community dance, maybe psychedelic substances to enjoy. To understand these people is, first of all, to understand that these people have common values of solidarity, peace, tolerance, and this absurd, horrific encounter between extreme cruelty and violence and this specific population makes it makes all this event particular. Now, psychedelics, we have to relate to psychedelics not less as substances, more as psychedelic experiences. And then you see all kind of reactions, and it's very difficult to generalize what happened there. But we investigate these things, and saying that it protected or not is a bit early, but like it's maybe the first time in history that we can investigate psychedelics and trauma through this perspective and not the other way around, meaning through clinical trials and taking people who have gone through a terrific trauma and giving them psychedelics, whether MDMA or other psychedelics, in order to treat them. So it's another perspective, and it's a bit too early to draw definite conclusion. I would not. It may require a longer talk about this topic here. Yeah.
I'm just curious. What sort of therapies are you using in your treatment? Are you using things like ketamine to treat people and get a hold of their trauma and address it?
No, actually, this is not our perspective. This is not our approach. We're in SafeHeart. SafeHeart, first of all, was created in order to give appropriate trauma, post-trauma therapy, cognitive psychotherapy, and by people who are unknowledgeable, psychedelic friendly or psychedelic informed from the community, therapists. So this NGO was founded from the community, for the community, and the approach is psychedelically informed. It's not, we do not believe at this stage, unless doing it very carefully in research, maybe settings, to treat people with ketamine at this stage. The second thing that is very important is to understand that naive patients who do not receive psychedelics and go to a psychedelic clinic to receive a treatment are not the same population as people taking psychedelics for parties. And so it's a very complex field, and we do not engage with psychedelic assisted therapy.
I understand.
If I may answer your question.
Now, it's not just people who attended the music festival or the kibbutz of Near Oz, but collectively, it seems Israeli society is still reeling from the trauma of 2 years ago. Do you think, in your professional opinion, do you think that trauma can heal if there is a deal to end the war?
Well, I will not talk about healing the trauma. It's a long process of rehabilitation, maybe recovery, and obviously the first step would be the end of this catastrophic war, which makes impossible the complete recovery of our patients and many others. So this would be the first step, but it would not stop there. It would be a long process, and I think the society as a whole is a traumatized society, not only in Israel. And I think we have to rethink also the field of psychedelics as what is the place of psychedelics in our traumatized society. And for this, maybe the courage of the Nova community, of the people of the raves, and the way they organize and they try to advance and invent new therapies and new solutions could be maybe a source of inspiration. And this is a larger debate that is interesting to approach at some point.
Demian Halperin, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.